everyone is talking about Myanmar and trying to figure out what's going on there. The military took power, they detained Aung San Suu Kyi, and they started rounding up members of her National League for Democracy political party. So what's going on? A lot of people are saying, oh, maybe it was a US-backed coup to remove a Chinese-friendly government from power, but I assure you, I highly doubt that that is the case. Aung San Suu Kyi and her government and the gigantic network that supports it has been the product of decades of US backing. And to prove that, all we have to do is, again, just go to the National Endowment for Democracy's website, go to their page for Myanmar. They're still calling Myanmar Burma by its British colonial name. And let's just, if we count up the number, look at this. Look how many programs are on this list. And these are all programs. These aren't even actually individual groups. And the list just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. And all the way to the end, I counted, there's at least 80 programs listed here. Just on this website, this is just what they're admitting to. And of course, there's a lot of organizations that they will not list on here and programs they will not list on here. And then you have to think of the US aid, the British funded organizations and programs, and of course everything corporate funded foundations like Open Society are funding inside Myanmar. So what they did over the last couple of decades is create this gargantuan network of parallel institutions to basically just hijack the entire country, its political mechanisms, and to just colonize it culturally, politically, and in some ways even economically. Now, the military in Myanmar owns much of the business that goes on inside of Myanmar, but the opposition here, Aung San Suu Kyi, her party, and the network propping it up, they don't need to own anything in Myanmar because they have a constant flow of money coming in from abroad. And the military in Myanmar, I don't know why they haven't done this, but they have never addressed this. They have never uprooted these networks. I don't know why. And now we can see what kind of problem this has created. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Aung San Suu Kyi has been friendly towards China. Yes, of course. There's no country on earth that can afford not to be. Even the US is seeing how difficult it is to cut ties with China, to cut them off of everything. They're trying and they cannot. And it's the same for Myanmar. I don't think that Aung San Suu Kyi's loyalties lie with Beijing. I think they lie with the people who are paying for her gigantic political network that kept her in power. Now, this is a map. This was from The Economist. And you can see these are all projects that were ongoing inside of Myanmar. And a lot of these projects were being built with the military in Myanmar, not with Aung San Suu Kyi's government. As a matter of fact, a lot of the NED-funded fronts that were supporting Aung San Suu Kyi were also actively involved in blocking these projects. And if you go through that list on the NED website and you do some digging, you will see entire organizations dedicated to just blocking, like pipelines or a port here, or all of this dam construction along these rivers. And of course, there's separatist groups all along the border that the US funds and backs and protects with fake human rights groups. And of course, the entire Rohingya crisis in Rakhine State, this was where China is trying to build a port. And of course, this is where the US attempted to destabilize with a violent conflict. And for a while there, it almost looked like they might be able to get, international peacekeepers on the ground there, and that would have shut down China's construction. So that's the game that the US is playing in Myanmar, and that was a game that Aung San Suu Kyi played a leading role in helping advance. And I think her inability to cut China off was more pragmatic than political. I think if she could, she would have, but she couldn't, and so she didn't. The fallout that she had with the West was over her reluctance to just basically, destroy the country's economy by cutting China off. So think of the Nobel Peace Prize that she won as like a biscuit that the West threw to her for doing her job well. And then think about the US having known that her supporters for years and years were the ones abusing the Rohingya in Myanmar. They knew that and they kept it under wraps. And then when she became disobedient, it was like the US rolling up a newspaper and hitting her with it. That was this whole thing where they were saying, oh, she's such a disappointment. Look what she's doing with the Rohingya. She had been doing that all along. I was reporting about that since 2011. And I had people in the Western media here in Thailand at the Foreign Correspondents Club of Thailand tell me that I was a conspiracy theorist. And then when she fell out of favor with the West and the West decided to use that history of abuse of the Rohingya by her supporters, all of those journalists who said I was a conspiracy theorist were all lining up to write articles about how her supporters were abusing the Rohingya and how she was failing to act on it. So that's what's going on in Myanmar. The military, I highly doubt, was backed by the U.S. to overthrow a network. It's not just Aung San Suu Kyi. It's an entire network that the U.S. has built up inside Myanmar, and they still fund it to this day. This list is from 2019, so I don't think that entire list of 80-something programs, I don't think they just turned on a dime and started working with China. I think this is the military reasserting itself because this huge network has gained critical mass. When Myanmar has elections, the military's political party doesn't even stand a chance because this network has worked its way into every aspect of life in Myanmar society, basically. And so the military is doing the last thing that it can do is just arrest Aung San Suu Kyi, her, the members of her political party, and then maybe if they're smart, they'll start uprooting this network of NGOs because that is actually the root of the problem. Aung San Suu Kyi is, way out on the branch. The root of the problem are these NGOs. You could get rid of her. You could find someone else to be at the head of this gigantic network. So that's my take on it. I'm going to keep an eye on this and I'm going to continue doing videos about it. I have another one coming out later today that will have Thai subtitles, and it's much shorter, but it covers basically the same material. I just want to point out that the White House here has put out a statement, and it's saying the U.S. opposes any attempt to alter the outcome of recent elections or impede Myanmar's democratic transition and will take action against those responsible if these steps are not reversed. And of course, the U.S. is funding that transition. Of course, it's not democracy since it's the U.S. driving it, not the people in Myanmar. And so this is another hot point in this competition between the U.S. and China, and it's going to affect the entire region. We already saw protests in the streets here in Thailand by the US-backed mobs here, took up this cause and sided with Aung San Suu Kyi and want it reversed. Surprise, just like the White House wants it reversed. So I'm gonna leave it there for now. If you thought the video was useful, please like and share it. Think about subscribing to the channel. It helps the channel grow, and it's totally free to do. To my Patreon patrons who make these videos possible on a daily basis, thank you so much. Please check the video description for the links to some of these websites that I showed you, as well as for ways you can help support my work, like by becoming a Patreon member. To everyone helping my work in every way, thank you so much. I couldn't do this without that help. And as always, thank you for watching.